Hello people. A bit more on trauma. I've spoken about trauma on a personal level, but I need to help you understand how it works on a macro level. Mainly using the music industry and Hollywood, those industries, but it connects directly with spiritual warfare. So what these organizations and secret societies are doing is they're familiar with the cycle of trauma and generational curses, and this is how they keep us all down. So companies like Disney of the past, it's probably being cleaned up now, but where they gather the children together and they figure out who's got gifts and who can sing and who's got a bigger, brighter light that they can use, get under contract and milk them for all they're worth financially, creatively, and control them. So the cycle of trauma, if you've noticed, which you can't not notice really, in the music industry and the sexual deviancy that goes on in the music videos and everything. So how it works is they get these children or young talented artists, and they sexually manipulate them. I mean, there's so many examples of it, Justin Bieber being the most recent, but what they'll do is they'll invite him along, unbeknownst to him and his family. They get him in there and they exploit him, and they attach a demon or a sexual entity or some sort, and once the demon is attached, or the entity, it's like attracts like. So that's why they're all in the club, because the club is just basically a cult, a sex cult. And you only have to look at all the artists and who they support and who they're friends with to see who's in it. So a lot of these children grow up, and Bieber being the example in this case, he's got no idea that he's just given up everything. His freedoms, his voice. I mean, when I say his voice, I mean his truth. And he's trapped. And then all his music and everything is then geared towards the club and manipulating society on a grand scale. So Bieber then having to sign a contract after what happened to him. I mean, there's that song. How does it go? Something like, I was in it for a Ferrari, but I lost way more than my soul, da 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 da. And he's stuck in it, and he can profess over and over again he's following the Lord, but he's stuck in it, man. And his children will now have that entity and is in the club until it is removed and the contract is completed. And a lot of the times, everything you gain from these contracts you've got to give up, because as soon as you unknowingly buy into the club, and like Cat Williams says, you just got to tell them no. Otherwise, you're in it, and everything that you create and perform is used as a vehicle within the organization that controls and has all the contracts for all the artists underneath them. So you can imagine how big this is, and the money involved. And this all stems from understanding what happens within the home. So then the propaganda and the organizations target the family unit. So all the families are broken with all the sexual agenda and trapping these souls. So understand, when I talk about spiritual warfare, this is the big picture. This is the game. So not everything is skin deep, and they want to keep you believing in the material and what you see, but there's a lot more going on that you can't. Now, I've done a lot of work, and I'm now very well trained in dealing with this kind of thing. So trauma has not only been discovered to be destructive and what have you for the family unit, it's used by the higher principalities of darkness to manipulate, control humanity and the different various industries that we see now on TV and the internet and what have you. So if we can, we're going to be forced to, but we're going to have to be forced to deal with our own traumas so that we can bring the family unit back together and teach the children and protect the children so that going forward they're not trapped like Mr. Bieber and what happened to him. I mean, that's a classic example. Another one is Britney Spears. I mean, she, just look at her before and now photos and videos. She was just beautiful, divine feminine energy, creative and classy, and now it's just dark eye makeup and ramblings because the darker forces were too strong for her. And as I've said in previous videos, the light workers have come together, they're uniting now, and we've got the tools to fight back. And they don't want this information out about the industry and their techniques and tactics because it's real heavy shit. It's dark, and they're all in on it. And most of them, I'd say 90%, have no idea how it works. They just know that when they get under contract that they can have all this material stuff, and they can they have doors open for them, and they've got connections because it's a club, it's a cult. And I mean, if you were one of these artists and you got pulled into it, I mean, what do? Do you give up a life of luxury for your soul? And you're stuck. You can't do anything. It's over for a lot of them, all of them. And okay, another example is Jim Carrey. Now, he's quite a unique case because he's managed to get around it somewhat because he's acknowledged the truth, and he's still fighting for his sovereignty. He's still made to look disheveled and crazy, but he's stepped completely away from the illusion, the club, the people, and it's very lonely out there for him because he's managed to separate himself from it, and he's probably got a long way to go, but if he's happy within himself and in that solitariness, there is peace there. And that's what happens as you gain information, insight, and you level up. Like they say, it's lonely at the top, because once you step outside the matrix, the cult, the bubble, you've got to forge new connections and evolve. Anyway, so that's how trauma works in a very sinister fashion across the globe. And it's in every country because these organizations have got tentacles everywhere. And, you know, these companies, organizations have even bought into other companies and organizations, social media, pharmaceuticals. So you see how big this is, and how they're using trauma, how they're using fear, how they're using your weaknesses and the spirits of jealousy, greed, envy, competition. It's coming down. And yeah, this information's not for everyone, but for some people, they need to know and understand the bigger picture so they can then work on the smaller picture. And working on ourselves is where it begins. And that's a lot for now. So